Welcome back to Cultural Geography. Hopefully you've recognized the need to get certain assignments turned in now. There were several assignments from last chapter that hopefully you've done already, as well as taking the Chapter 16 test. And now you should have already done the first assignment for Chapter 17, as well as taken the first quiz for Chapter 17. If you haven't done all those things yet, you really need to make sure to get that done, since we're getting close to the end of quote-unquote the week lessons. We're picking up at Roman numeral 2 today, talking about the small states, the small countries on the Arabian Peninsula. Saudi Arabia is not the only country on the Arabian Peninsula. There are several other countries that we're going to talk about today. Although not all Muslims are Arabs, this part of the world is sometimes referred to as the Arab world. Islam was first spread by Arabs. Strict Muslims study and memorize the Quran in the original Arabic language. To certain groups of Muslims, translations are not even permitted. There are 6 small countries that share the Arabian Peninsula with Saudi Arabia to the south and to the east of it. So let's begin. Letter A, the country of Yemen. There's its flag located down there, as well as a picture of Yemen. The capital is Sana'a. Yemen consists of highlands and a small, narrow coastline. A few facts about descriptions about Yemen is that it has the lowest literacy rate, life expectancy, and per capita GDP in the Middle East. Most of the economy consists of subsistence farming and herding. So you can imagine this country is one of the poorest countries in all the Middle East. One of the reasons why that's the case is because it's had a history of civil war. During the Cold War, Yemen was actually 2 countries, a North and a South Yemen. South Yemen being the only communist country in the Middle East. In 1990, South Yemen rejoined with North Yemen, but differences remain between the two. One thing positively about Yemen worth mentioning was that in 1993 it was the first Arab nation to hold a multi-party election. Yet, its future progress is still in question. Terrorists have tried to use Yemen as a safe haven. In 2000, terrorists used an explosive-laden boat to blow a hole in the warship, the USS Cole, killing some American sailors. In 2015, a civil war again erupted between different factions of Islam, so their future is still questionable. The main cash crops that grow in Yemen are coffee and khat. The famous city of Mocha exports its brand of coffee all around the world. Khat is a shrub whose leaves are often chewed as a narcotic. Historically speaking, this land was once called Sheba. Perhaps, biblically speaking, the Queen of Sheba may have been located in this area. In your textbooks on page 421, there are 2 pink boxes I want you to read. One of them is called Traditional Yemen Social Values, and the other one is Importance of Family. Please read those 2 pink boxes to yourself. Pausing this video, once you have finished, please unpause and resume. Roman numeral 2. The Sultanate of Oman. A sultanate, by the way, is a country that is ruled by a sultan. The Sultan family has ruled Oman since 1740. There's a picture of the flag of Oman located on the screen. One of the facts about Oman, I guess one of the infamous facts about Oman, is that it is considered one of the hottest countries in the world. This country is located primarily in the Rub al Khali. Average daytime temperatures can get as hot as 130 degrees. Yikes! As I recall this fact. Makes me think of the slightly humorous way that I remember. I think of Oman, it's hot outside. So if that helps you, good for you. If that doesn't help you, well, find your own way. The people wear long white robes and turbans to protect themselves against the heat, wind, and blowing sand. The country has begun to diversify its economy to make it less dependent on oil production. Today, they also produce butter, fish, drying, and silver and goldsmithing. The Dhofar. Dhofar is a region located in the southwestern part of the country and is known for its many frankincense trees. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Interesting. Oman controlled a lot of the waterways in the 1700s and 1800s thanks to control of the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz is the only passageway out of the Persian Gulf, and it is controlled by Oman. All oil tankers must pass as they leave the Persian Gulf. On page 422, there is a pink box that has to do with wadi bashing. I recommend reading this pink box too, just if anything for your entertainment as to what people do in the desert for fun. Well, read that box and you will know better. Letter C. Emirates on the Persian Gulf. In the 1800s, 4 kingdoms asked Britain to help protect them against dangerous enemies in return for rule. Britain did so until 1971, when the countries of the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain, and Kuwait gained their independence. Because of oil, all of these countries are prospering. So let's talk about each of these. Number 1, the United Arab Emirates. There's its flag located right there. An emirate, before we even continue, is a land ruled by an emir. An emir is a type of prince. The United Arab Emirates consists of 7 emirates that have joined together to form one country. Each emirate has its own traditions and rules on the local level. The 7 emirs form the Supreme Council and appoint a president as head of state. On page 423, it shows you a map of the United Arab Emirates, and you can see a better view of those different emirates. Also notice Oman controls the tip of the peninsula, the Strait of Hormuz. It is the richest country in the Persian Gulf. It's the 5th largest producer of oil in the world. The per capita GDP is about $49,000. Also is the UAE is home to the tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa building. It stands at 2,717 feet in height. Number 2, the country of Qatar. It's not Qatar. It's better pronounced simply Qatar. Qatar is also an emirate ruled by a prince and has grown wealthy from oil. Because Qatar is mostly a stony desert, the people have to distill seawater to drink. Well, that whole idea is called desalination, the removal of salt from salt water. Although desalination is too expensive for most countries, it is cheaper to do that than importing fresh water from hostile nations. Also in 2003, Qatar was the main headquarters for the U.S.-led invasion of Iraq. Qatar is also the home of the controversial Arab television network Al Jazeera, which had aired the taped messages of Osama bin Laden and others. Number 3, the country of Bahrain, or Bahrain. I prefer Bahrain. The country of Bahrain consists of a large island as well as smaller ones. The country of Bahrain is ruled by a sheikh. A sheikh, in case you're wondering, is the male leader of an extended Arab family. It is the leading banking and financial center in the Persian Gulf. It's involved with delivering oil from one place to oil tankers. It's also a major port of call for U.S. warships traveling in the Gulf. It includes natural springs providing abundant fresh water. Tombs and ziggurats 4,000 years old are found there as well. The ancient Sumerians said that this was where Noah settled after the flood. Perhaps he did. Last country we're going to talk about today is the country of Kuwait. Kuwait. It was uninhabited until 1710. It began to prosper after oil was discovered there. Kuwait is a member of OPEC. OPEC is a cartel that seeks to control the amount and price that oil is given to the Western nations. Its greatest influence was in the 1970s when oil prices shot up greatly. Since then, OPEC members have been too busy fighting among themselves to present a united front in oil sales. In 1990, Kuwait was invaded by Iraq during the Persian Gulf War. Iraq declared that Kuwait really belonged to Iraq and seized its oil supply. Kuwait is the second highest producer of oil in the world, and it greatly angered the rest of the world. UN forces, led by the US and Britain, moved in 1991 and liberated Kuwait from Iraq. In 1992, Kuwait established the first democratic government in the Persian Gulf. The weak National Assembly only represents the first-class citizens, about 13% of the total population, and has done very little for the nation. The country is still heavily dependent on other countries. It imports all of its food and obtains 75% of its water from imports and desalination. On page 426, there's a blue box concerning missions in Muslim countries. Please read that to yourself. Pausing this video. Once you have finished, please unpause. Well, now that you've finished reading that box, guess what? That's all we have time for today. Hopefully you guys have gotten all the work done that you need to get done for this week. Hope you have a good rest of the day. Be good, do good.